out of the house. Or you can just doom it. Crap. Ah! Ow. Okay, that's what I get for kicking it out. Okay. Let us try this. Got hair in my face. Dumelang guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Reupholstering, also go by the name Rainy, and this week's video will be about reupholstering chairs. And guys, I honestly don't know if I have it in me to do this, but I'm gonna go right ahead and push myself and try and get this right. I'm no expert, so yeah, you guys will just be learning as I'm learning as well, pretty much. But anyways, I'm just gonna dive in a little bit about what these chairs mean to me. These chairs have existed before I was even born. My late granddad, sadly, I'm gonna try not to get emotional. My late granddad bought these couches before I was even born, so I grew up around these couches. So when I decided that I want to reupholster them and I asked my grandmother if I could have the couches, she decided that, you know what, my granddaughter, you can have the couches. I was super happy and I was super psyched out because I honestly had this vision in mind and I couldn't wait to get into reupholstering. Obviously, I didn't know the amount of work that goes into it and I was in over my head, but nonetheless, we are here today. So meaning we've accomplished something, guys. So yeah, with that being said, I really love these couches because I get to have a piece of my grandparents in my house, and it's also a piece of my childhood because most of my childhood was also spent with my grandparents. So I love having that touch in my house. And will I be able to do this? I don't know. I don't know, but we are about to figure it out all together. This is going to be a two-part series because honestly I feel like if I don't make it a two-part series, this video is gonna be long enough for it to even be in the cinemas, long enough for it to even need a trailer, long enough for it to be a movie. That's what I'm trying to say. So I didn't want to rush things. I don't want to skip any steps trying to shorten the video. So instead I decided I want it to be like a thorough video. I want to go into depth of each and every single steps that I took into creating and reupholstering these chairs. So hence why it's going to be a two-part video, and the part one will be us working on the frame of the chair. So with that being said, let's get into it. So this is what the frames look like before. You can see the wood is old, it's been beaten up, it just needs to be refurbished. So what I did was I started off by disassembling the frames so that I can make it a whole lot easier for me to start removing the paint finish from it. This way I'm going to be able to reach certain areas that I might not be able to reach if the frame was actually attached and intact. So that's what I thought. This is what you'll need to complete this project. Most of these products I bought them from builders. Actually all of them I bought them from builders, except for the cloth obviously, because we all have that random old t-shirt that's torn and then you just decide you're gonna use it. And obviously I'm gonna use my old tea bag holder, or I don't know what y'all call it, but then yeah, it used to hold my tea bags, so that's what I'll be using. And we need to be safe, so this is a safety gear you'll need, and I'm going to show it to you now what it actually looks like. It's your eye protection, your face, basically your nose and mouth protection, and two different sets of gloves.
So what I did was I started off by applying the paint remover using my paintbrush. So I applied it on the wooden frame. And this was actually interesting for me because I didn't know what to expect, and it actually looks weird when you apply it and you start seeing the finish lift off from the actual wood, and then once you scrape it off, the real wood starts to show. So the texture of this paint remover is a bit slimy, if I should say, like from looking at it, because you don't want to touch it. You want to refrain from touching it because wow, the many times that I've touched this thing, my skin started feeling like it's sizzling or something like that, hence why I ended up wearing overalls. You'll see that most of the time when I was working on this, I actually wasn't wearing any overalls. I was wearing just a sleeveless top, and trust me, you guys need overalls, because if it wasn't for the soap water that I had with me, honestly guys, the burn was real. I don't know, like, I guess it's skin remover as well. It does more than paint removing. But anyways, I'm gonna stop talking a lot of crap and let you guys watch what I'm doing. So obviously I'm going in here with my paint scraper to actually get this done. I think this is a great idea. I wouldn't recommend any other material other than metal kind or steel kind, because the chemical is very strong and I'm pretty much sure it is going to start eating at whatever else you're going to use. So this is what it looks like after you've applied the paint remover and you leave it for a little while. The paint or the finish of your wood starts to actually lift off, and you can see that the chemical is getting through to it, and all you do is scrape it off. Here was a bit of a hiccup for me. It was a mistake. You don't want to be too rough where you end up damaging the wood and you scratching the wood. You don't want to do that. However, lucky for me, this didn't impact my finish, but however, if you can avoid doing that, avoid it. So as you can see here, I had my latex gloves, or I don't know what material this is, if it's not latex, and you can see I accidentally touched the paint remover and I had to quickly rinse it off, because honestly it's a painful feeling once it touches your skin, hence why I highly advise that you guys use overalls or long sleeves or whatever it is, because this chemical does not play. It's meant to remove paint on any form of surface, so obviously it is going to give that burning sensation if it touches skin, because, well, it's some serious chemical here. So I went right ahead and I scraped off all the finished painting from all my frames. And I touched it again. That was me going, damn it. And what I noticed here is, as I was using those gloves, the chemical started eating at the blue gloves, so I had to use some serious heavy duty gloves. And I don't know what I expected, because if it removes paint and it's very, very like high chemical, and I got it under my shoes, as you can see. And this is where I realized that I actually need to go wear my safety boots, and I need to, secure my hands with some serious gloves instead of those latex kind of gloves, because the chemical was just eating away at those gloves as I was working. And then now that we're done removing the paint, I'm gonna go right ahead and sand the frames. Sanding is all about building up. You do not want to skip any steps. So what I started off with was, as I was removing the paint with the paint remover, I was using a 60 grit with the paint remover, scraping off the last bits of the paint in the nooks and crannies of the frame. And then I went over the frames with 100 grit, 120 grit and 150 grit. I left it at 150 so that I can prep the wood for staining. I don't want the wood to be too smooth by building up all the way to 220 grits. I just left it off at 150. You can go to 180, I think, and leave it there so that you can start staining the wood. You don't want it to be super finished. And this is the advice I got from one of the YouTube channels I've been watching on refurbishing wooden frames and stuff like that. Guys, that was a lot. We removed the finish from all the frames. We sanded it. We used what's that again, the paint remover and 100 grit sandpaper, and then we started building from there on. Use 120, 150. 150 is where I left it off. I feel it's good for me to start staining it right now. However, I'm super tired. This has been a long day. My back is killing me. I'm out of breath. I honestly need to take it easy since it's a lot, guys. It's a lot. So we're gonna finish off tomorrow. Tomorrow, all we're gonna do is wipe down the frames, clean it off from all the sand, dirt that we have all over it, and then we're gonna stain it, and then put it back together, and then we're gonna create the frame where the cushions are to sit. So starting off our day 2, we are going to clean off all the dust from when we sanded our frames. We could have done this yesterday, but well, we were super tired to do that. We were tired. So yes, we're going to wipe off all of that, clean our surface just before we stain it, because you don't want any dirt on our surface. To stain our frames, we're going to be using the sponge brush. I went with this because I don't want any brush strokes on the frames and I don't want to risk it. Maybe I wasn't going to get it, but then I decided not to risk it either way and use a sponge brush instead. So the first time, this is the first application. With the first application, things went wrong because I didn't follow the instructions on my stainer. So you guys want to follow all the instructions. I don't know why I did it this way. Probably because I watched too many YouTube videos on this, that they were probably using a different stain from me. Because with them, they would apply and wipe. They use the method of apply and wipe. And then I did that with this stain. It didn't turn out so great. I will show you guys how it turned out. And basically the instructions said nothing about applying and wiping. It was more of apply and then let it dry out, and then reapply again once the first coat is dry, or the coat that you actually applied. So this is what the frames look like after the first application of the stain with the wipe method. You can see it's not a nice finish. It looks patchy and all the kind of stuff. So what I did was I went ahead and I sanded the frames, because you ought to sand between your coats. So each and every single time I'm going to apply again, I'm going to sand it. So this is where we made our big mistake. You can see how it looks. It looks patchy. It just doesn't look good at all. So I went ahead and I used the actual method that the instructions said I must use, which is to actually apply and let it dry. So as you're looking here, this is my 4th application. I'm just applying it and then I'm letting it dry. And the 4th application was my actual last application for my stain, because I wanted my wood as dark as possible, and I finally got it where I wanted it. And as you can see, the sun was probably going down at this point in time, because this took the whole day to do. So yeah. And this is our final product. Look at that. She looks so beautiful, guys. Look at that finish. That is beautiful. Beautiful. So I went right ahead and I reassembled my couches. I didn't want to show you guys the whole process of reassembling, but I figured if you guys took it apart, you probably should know how to put it back together. So this is me putting back my Humpty Dumpty. It took a lot as well to do this, because I had to make sure that I do not damage my finish while I'm putting this back together. But however, I managed to get away with it. Just giving it nice tight, and I'm tightening everything, ensuring that if somebody like my brother or my dad were to sit on this, they do not fall or the chair doesn't fall apart. Because maybe I can get away with it, but then I mean, I'm a teeny weeny person, I think. So somebody that's not teeny weeny, I might want to consider them when I'm actually tightening this and not play around. I gotta make sure that this is as tight as I possibly can get it to be. Alright, going to my day 3, I had my wood cut to size at Builders. You can, if you buy wood from them, they can cut it for you. And then I also got my webbing belt, I got my sandpaper, and I got my screws. So what I did was I went ahead and I measured how I want my screws to, where I want my screws to go. So instead of measuring each and every single wood, what I did was I took my tape, and which I could see through it, and I made markings of where I made my drill hole markings, and I took that tape and I basically attached it to all the other woods, wooden blocks, not woods, so that I don't have to re-measure each and every single little thing. And because I'm using a template from one of the things that I measured, one of the wood planks that I measured, then it means I'm not gonna make a mistake with any of my measurements because they should line up. So this is what it looks like after I'm done drilling. I drilled the longer pieces through and through so that I can be able to drill through my nails the way I'm doing right now. This is me attaching my frame together, putting it all together, ensuring that the nail goes through and through into the smaller block. And this is my final product. I didn't go into detail with this part because I'm only doing this because one of the frames got broken and I'm just fixing one of them and not the other one. So hopefully when you refurbish your couches, your frame is still intact and you don't have to go through this. But I decided to keep it in just so I can show you guys more or less what I did to actually get one of the frames done. So now this is me webbing the frame. I'm webbing it as tight as I possibly can because I don't want it to be loose. I want this to be very secure for any type of person that weighs, no matter how much they weigh, they mustn't just fall right through my couch, because well, that would be funny. But then yet again, I don't want that to happen. I'm not trying to go amateur mode on people with my, DIYs. So this is just a close-up of how it actually looks while I am using my staple gun, which also took a bit of a while for me to figure out because this is the very first time that I'm using a staple. Is it a staple gun? What's it called? I think it's a staple gun. Heavy duty staple? I don't know. Y'all can see what it is. Just take a screenshot, go to a store and look for the same thing. I guess. So now that I'm done with one side, I am going to go right ahead and web the other side. But however, this technique apparently goes many years back, where when you web it, you're supposed to go under, over and under with your webbing so that it gives it extra security. Basically, that's what it does. So I went right ahead and used that old method because if these chairs have lasted this long, clearly there's nothing wrong with the way they used to do things in the past. So that's what I went right ahead and did. And basically the other frame also looked like the webbing was the same way. So I figured might as well keep it that way because there must be a reason behind people doing this way. And the reason is it secures it very well.
we finally came to the end of my one part of this. We have scraped off the chair, the old finish from the chairs. We have sanded them down. We have stained and 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 stained until we got it to the color that we wanted. Yes, we made a few mess ups, and yes, we made a few hiccups, and we have let it dry, we have assembled, we have done all of that, and it was a lot. It took a lot. I was sweating, I was dying inside, but I just had to push through. I couldn't, keep postponing, because I just felt like, with the amount of days that we already spent on doing this, it has to be done eventually. And with that being said, that is the end of my part 1 series of reupholstering these chairs. If you guys loved what I did and going through all of this, please give it a thumbs up. And if you guys have more tips on how I could have done this better, leave a comment down below. Or if you guys find this very informative, leave a comment down below. If you guys enjoyed this, leave a comment down below. I'm running out of things to say, so I can say leave a comment down below, because I'm starting to like leave a comment down below. Oh crap, I'm dumb. Okay, with that being said, if you're new to my channel, a huge welcome to you. This is a safe space, safe zone. Go ahead and subscribe, and please turn on your bell notification so you get notified each and every single time I post new content on my YouTube channel. And trust me, with this being a part 1, you want to know where I'm going to end up. Will I make it? Or will I not? We don't know. And with that being said, be kind, love and light.